Hey, what's going on guys, Darius here and welcome to a new tutorial, and in this one we're going to be learning how to do this particular piece that I posted I would say a week ago on my Instagram. So if you like these sort of things, then make sure to go up in the description and follow me on Instagram at BakaArts. So this piece is actually not as hard as it looks. It's just a little bit of work, but it's also comprised of like 4 stock images. I bought them, so I can't share them because, you know, they cost money. Like I can't even share Shutterstock images or something. But come on, I mean, you can find these online easily. Go check the description. I will be giving you some really awesome free stock websites where you can get some awesome stock images to use in your photo manipulations. So let's start with the piece. I'm just going to hide everything and show you how I started, like what the beginning was. So it all started with this background, which is just a gradient. I mean, it's pretty easy to make. Let me go to Essentials mode here. You just grab your gradient tool and like make a gradient, and that's gonna be your start. I start with something bluish that I found inside of the presets, the regular ones that you have in Photoshop. And I think I searched for some inspiration online, and I found myself looking at some whales, and I was like, let's do something with whales. Then I got this image here from Envato Elements, it's called. I'm gonna be linking this image in the description, and I thought it was really cool. I thought I could use this. I thought it had a very interesting perspective, and I could use this as a photo manipulation. So what I did, I just imported it. And now I was like, what am I gonna do? I always wanted to get into Photoshop 3D. It's quick and in-app inside of the software, so that's what I was looking for. I just like dropped the opacity of this, and I made a new layer, and I went to 3D, and then new mesh from layer, mesh preset, and I made a cube. And you're gonna get a cube, just regular cube. And I moved it under the sailboat. So what I wanted to do is to get this perspective so it looks like it's sitting on top of the cube. So I moved the sailboat a bit higher like this. I will change it later on. I'll probably switch the perspective around. I'm gonna show you guys how I did that. So I clicked on my cube. Make sure to go to your workspace and change it to 3D. It should do it automatically. Once you're done with 3D, make sure to switch it back to Essentials. But now I have this cube that I have to work with, so I'm gonna go and click on my 3D here next to the layers. It should appear there, and you're gonna get this panel here. I'm gonna click on my scene, and I'm going to try to rotate the scene, not like this, this button here, the rotate tool, and I'm trying to get this perspective to get the boat on top of the cube. Sort of like this, I guess, like I use it in the manipulation. I'm gonna try to move the cube a bit lower like this. Gonna try to resize it. Where is this? Is this the resize button? Yes, there we go. Like to switch the camera a bit and kind of try to get it on top. Let me just move around here. Probably a bit lower. Sort of like this. See how it's on top now, but it's not exactly how I want it. So maybe just a little bit smaller, maybe. There we go. Rotate it a bit, just like this, and sort of like this. See how the boat is just like on top? There's probably some other better ways that you guys know about, but this is how I made my piece, so I'm just showing you my workflow for this particular piece. I'm sure it will change with time when I learn better 3D and stuff. So I clicked then on my light, so I can change the lighting now. What I'm seeing here in my piece is that the lighting is like hitting from the top left side on directly on the boat. So I can do that in 3D, thankfully, if I select my cube here, and I can change my lighting to about the same position so it fits, you know? And I can switch around the sailboat, just move it a bit here, like so. And I can press Ctrl T on the keyboard and make it a bit smaller. And there you have it. That's exactly how I did it. Now, what I did next is kind of destructive, and I would advise you to take the long way if you have a stock image that has more elements than just a boat in the middle and then texture all around it. What I did is I made a copy of the layer, I rasterized the layer, put the opacity back to 100, and to cover up this area here, I selected it as much as I could from the water texture, then go to edit, content aware scale, and I dragged it. So yeah, I don't notice much of a difference. You can't really see that it's been stretched or something. If I do it here, it's gonna be noticeable because of the shadow of the boat. But what you can do is go to your essentials. Yeah, change your workspace to essentials. Then go to your clone stamp tool. So hold Alt while having the clone stamp tool selected, and sample a texture from your image, like from here, for example, and just like paste it on top. Let me see if I can grab from the shadows here so it blends in better. Got the boat there, we're just gonna cover that up. There we go, just like this. We really only need to cover up that particular space, so we're not gonna worry about anything else. It looks kind of rough right now, but once you cut it out and everything, it's gonna be fine. So the next thing you're gonna wanna do is this sailboat. We're gonna need the texture. We're going to need this water for the sides of the cube. So what I did, again, it's a bit destructive. I used the regular spot healing brush tool. Just pump that brush really big, as much as I could, and I just selected the boat. I kind of like hoped that the software would do its thing with content aware and remove it. And it sort of did. There's still spots that are just like awkward. I'm just going to try to remove as much as I could from the boat so we have a nice and clean texture. And this kind of worked. I'm pretty satisfied with the result considering that we had a giant boat around here. So we're going to use this for the sides. You're going to see in a second. So I'm going to add a mask to the sailboat. I'm going to press Control and I to invert the mask. You may remember this from the previous tutorial. Make sure you're switched to Essentials here, not 3D. And go to your polygonal lasso tool, and then click on the edges here, the 4 points. There we go. Now, grab your brush tool, color white, and then just paint it on top, and then deselect. And see how we have this now? It's awesome. It's on top of the cube. Now we still need to do some stuff with the cube. We need to render it first. But still, let's play around with the shadows a bit. So I'm gonna go to my 3D workspace again. We're gonna select the cube. We're gonna go to the 3D panel, and we're gonna select the infinite light. And the shadow, we're gonna change the softness of it just a little bit, like so. I mean, we're not gonna see it actually in the end because it's gonna be covered by clouds, but I don't know. I'm still gonna leave it like that. I really like a soft shadow because I may use this cube in the future for something else. So I'm gonna go back to layers, right click, and then render the 3D layer. And Photoshop is just gonna do its work and make your cube smooth on the edges, make the shadows, render it super nicely, and you're not gonna have those rough edges. Okay, I'm gonna cancel the process, but once it's done on your side, then right click and then rasterize 3D. And this is just gonna make the cube an object, a regular image instead of a 3D object. And now switch your workspace back to Essentials, and we're gonna go from here. Now the next thing you're going to have to do is go to your texture that we just cleaned up, and we're gonna copy and paste it here, drop the opacity a bit, and press Ctrl and T on the keyboard and hold Shift and drag it. So we're gonna proportionally make it smaller, like so. Okay, so my idea now is just to slap this on the side, but I need to also put it in a good perspective. So I'm gonna hold Control and drag the corners of the texture to the corners of the cube, like so. This size, this side here. There we go. And this should be good. Press Enter. And now you're gonna have to put the opacity back up and put this on overlay. Now just this side on overlay, because this one it's white here and it's gonna be too bright if you put it on overlay. So we're gonna paste the texture again and kind of try to put it on the front now. Over here, drop the opacity a bit so you see what you're doing, and do the same thing. Try to be as accurate as possible. So in the end, this is going to be your result. Now the next thing I did is I added some extra shapes because I really wanted to make this a bit more wavy, look more natural and organic. So let me just show you here. This is just brushing around. I just brushed around the edges. This is really all I did. So just like made a new layer, grab my brush tool, maybe size 4 or something, and I hold Alt and just sample the colors from the canvas. And I just like do it like this over here and make it look more organic. Like so. Here too, I just like paint it on top. Just like this. Sample the colors. Added some darks here. I'm doing it with the mouse right now, so it's not as accurate as with the graphic tablet. But yeah, that's basically it. And then I added some highlights with white. That's it. It's on overlay, opacity 61%, and just drop some white on top of it. That's it. And it's gonna look more organic in the end, like so. And this antenna, obviously, is just normal brushing, just like 2%, 1%, 1 pixel, sorry. Sample the white and just like drag it here, like so on top. You can make 10 antennas for all I care. That's as easy as it goes. The next thing that I did is I went back to my background and I changed it to some clouds, some aerial clouds. I forgot what I got this. I think it's from photobash.org, I think. The next thing that I had to do is to add some clouds. So I'm gonna have to add them on top of the cube. So to blend it in, I'm gonna sample a color from the clouds that we already have. And then I'm going to make a new layer. And with this brush that you're going to get in the description, you can use it to make the clouds. It's this one here. It's called Ground Dust, but it looks cloudy to me. It doesn't look that dusty to me, so I'm going to use it. And on a new layer, opacity 100, with the sample color, just like drag it around. It's really more accurate with the graphic tablet. I really strongly suggest you using that. So we're just going to paint here on top. We're gonna need some shadows. So I'm gonna sample the shadows from here and paste the shadows where I think the shadows will hit. So since the lighting is coming from the top left corner, it's gonna be dark here. So I'm just gonna paste it around here like this. And again, this works better with a graphic tablet, but in the end, you're gonna get this. So just play around with it. It's nothing else, just work. Just make it work. Just simply drag. Change the size, make it bigger, make it 400, play around with it, and make sure to get a nice-ish result, whatever fits you. We can grab some blue, we can add some blue here for all I care, whatever fits. We can add some samples from the water. You can even grab some black, put it on 60% opacity, play around until you have a nice result with the colors, like so. I'm actually going to include the other cloud brushes too, so you can use them too if you want. This 800 brush is pretty nicely, it's a kind of a softer one. There's also this one here, which is more cloud-like. I really like this one because it actually looks like a cloud, and every time you click, it changes the size. It's super awesome. Check that out. Now you may be wondering how I did the whales. It's a pretty easy process. I use this stock image here of a whale. I inverted the whale, so Control and I on the keyboard, and it's gonna make a white whale, which is what we want in our manipulation. So I'm gonna paste it inside here, as you can see, and I just put it like on the bottom here. I thought it was a good position, like so. Then what I did is I added a mask, and I used my cloud brush with black to paint away, kind of fade the whale away, just like so. See how the tail just fades away in the clouds, and then here on its flipper, I guess, I don't even know how it's called, and kind of like blend it away in the clouds, just like so. I thought it was cool if I had smoke coming out of the whale's mouth. Yeah, I just grabbed some cloud brushes, and I grabbed the color. I think it was this bluish here, and I made it really small, like so. And I just like made it like this, so it kind of looks, I don't know, like clouds. So kind of play around with the aerodynamics, I guess. I don't know how you call it. I'm sorry, but I just thought it was cool. And then I had these fish brushes that I thought they were really cool, and I just added them, added some fishes, you know, like fish usually feed around a whale from what I've seen in documentaries. So I just like, let's just put some fish in there. And then you can just add some shadows. So what I did here, I just like grabbed a dark, a normal soft brush, and I grabbed some shadows from here. For example, I made a new layer on top, clipped the mask, right click, clipping mask to the whale, and I just like made some shadows under it, you know, because it's supposed to cast shadows, the lighting on top of it only, because the whole area here is under shadows due to the current lighting that we have in our picture. I just hope I'm making any sense here, and that would be super awesome. But yeah, that's pretty much what I did with the whale. You're gonna get the fishes too in the description, the clouds, all the brushes, you're gonna get it in the description. As I said, I can't give you the cloud images and the water, the boat, and anything, because I bought them, so I'm not allowed to share it because I don't want a giant copyright lawsuit on my hands. And then in the end, I just added like a couple of more whales. I added some motion blur on this particular whale here. Let me see here, whale 4, whale 3. Now this one here, whale 4, for example, I just lowered the opacity a bit and kind of like made it lighter a bit. And I made this whale here in the foreground a bit darker. And the whale number 3 here, I kind of added some highlights on top. I thought it was cool, so why the hell not? And then obviously I took all of the cube elements and I grouped them together. And then I added some shadows on overlay, and make it obvious that the clouds are kind of casting shadows on the cube on the bottom here. And then in the end, I added some clouds behind the cube, just to blend everything better together. But how did I get all these colors and adjustments that everything looks so cool around here? So the next thing I did is I made a new layer on top, then go to image, apply image, and then OK. I double clicked on the layer to get to the layer style panel, and I unticked the green channels here in the blending options. Now, if I go to my move tool and I move this, it's gonna get this stereoscopic 3D effect. You may have seen this, you know, like in 3D glasses and stuff, or like glitch art, but I just really like to add a tiny bit of it, you know, just a hint of it. And I think it gives it a really nice cinematic look, kind of more realistic. I don't know, I like it. And then go and apply the image again on a new layer, image, apply image, okay. And then we're gonna go to the final step, which is gonna be camera raw. Now filter, camera raw filter, you know, I always use camera raw filter in the end to just adjust things if I want to. I can make the temperature a bit colder, I can make the tint a bit more to the purple side, and there you go. This is the kind of effect I was going for. You can also play around with the exposure, make it darker, more contrasted. Clarity, drop it down if you want to, more vibrant, however you want to. This is only personal preference here. I can go to the tone curve and just flatten the blacks a bit, you know, kind of get that hipster-ish look that's supposedly in right now for some reason. Increase the highlights, play around with the colors. There's these hue, saturation, luminance panels here. You can change the color of the blues. You can make it more cyan, I guess, or like a more intense blue, or the aquas. You can play around with it. This is just personal preference. You can go to split toning and add like a filter, you know, like I can make the highlights green, I can make the shadows purple, for example. I can add some dehaze, which is going to bring back some of the background. I can add some grain, you know, to make it even more realistic-ish. Add a vignette, press OK, and there you go, before and after Camera Raw, which is why I always use Camera Raw, because I just think it's such a powerful tool. So that is it for the tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you liked the outcome, and I hope you get an awesome outcome yourselves. Make sure to check the description so you can get the brushes, and check out the websites with the stock images, free stock images that I prepare for you guys. And I would really super love it if you would follow me on Instagram, instagram.com/BakaArts. If you want to share your pieces, then make sure to use the hashtag BakaArts and I will check them out. Or you can also DM me on Instagram, that's also a possibility. Make sure to subscribe, like the video if you liked it, share with your friends. I will see you guys in the next tutorial. Cheers!